So next we're going to apply mascara and then we're going to talk about rimming. So I quickly wanted to introduce you to my makeup and brush line, which is designed to work for all ages. And this line is totally self-funded and features the most beautiful lipsticks, liners and gloss. And these give the lips a beautiful finish, a beautiful natural finish, while flattering tones enhance what you already have. I have eyeshadow palettes that are designed to work with your eyes, not against them, and the most amazing kohl liners that actually stay put. There are gorgeous blusher and highlighter duos which add soft colour and shine to your cheeks. And not forgetting my amazing handmade Japanese brush collection, which are the softest brushes currently available. They won't tug or move your skin, meaning you get precision exactly where you need it. Everything is available worldwide and ships from Beautylish. There's a link in the bio. Thank you. Hey everyone, okay, so today we're going to be going through eyeshadow because it's problematic for a lot of people. And a problematic eye really means an eye that you find difficult to apply eyeshadow to, whether it's your own or somebody else's. So what we're going to do in this video is break it down into 4 sections. We're going to break it down into eyelid, brow bone, crease, and outside contour or outside eyelid. And we're going to be breaking it down in numbers. So you're going to be painting by numbers and you'll find it a lot easier to do if you have a problematic eye. So let's make a start. The first thing I'm going to do is just groom this brow ever so slightly, and mine doesn't really need a lot of work, so I like to go against the grain of the hair, and my mirror is once again 1,000 miles away, and just go against the grain mostly and then just kind of comb it through. I just want it to be a little bit more defined at the end and just filled in slightly. So I'm perfectly okay with that kind of haphazard eye. It's absolutely fine. I'm going to apply an eyelid primer, and I'm just going to apply just a little touch of it kind of all over the eyelid. So we're going to be using a guide as always. Now a lot of people, when you see kind of YouTubers and they're using different tools, you can kind of go, oh, I need that. But it's so this is what I use, and this is a shadow shaper, but it does the exact same thing as a tissue because you hold it against the eye, you hold the tissue against the eye. You don't need it, okay? So I'm going to use my 2 eyeshadow palettes. I'm going to use the grey palette and I'm going to use the brown palette. Now, the first thing I want to do is create a highlight on the eyelid. So that's the first area that I want to start to apply some colour. I want this area here, and I'm going to start out kind of sheerly and build up. I want that area to be light and to stand out, because we generally want the eyelid, or as much of the eyelid as we can, to stand out. Now, generally speaking, the eyelid should be stronger in terms of highlight than the brow bone. And I think that's quite self-explanatory to a lot of people, because it's quite rare you'll find somebody who goes, I really want this bit here, really want it to stand out. Rarely happens. So I'm just applying this to the eyelid. I'm going into that inner corner, but we'll deal with it later. Now for the under eye, for the brow bone area, I'm going to highlight just this outside portion here, right here. And I'm going to do it stronger than I perhaps would normally, because I want you to see where it is, or at least I hope you can see where it is, right here. Because this gives us 2 guidelines, lid and eye. And we now know that anything within that space we can colour in. And it will become quite easy when you learn this technique. So the next thing I'm going to do is define the lash line. Really important. I like to define it with black eyeshadow right at the lash line because it adds framing to the eyes, and then we can build on it as we go along. I'm just going to take a black eyeshadow, and I'm going to have to try and move my mirror in a bit closer. And I'm just going to push this into the lash line. I just want there to be this deepness at the base of the lash, but I don't want to take away any valuable eye space because I don't have a lot of eye space. And if I were to just line across it, some straight across, it's just going to look like I've got black eyeshadow on. And I don't want that. So just fill it in. Push it gently into the lash bed. Pop it in. And you just get a more defined eye. Now, if you've gone over any lid space, you can just go back in with your eyeshadow. It's absolutely marvelous. Don't worry about it. Okie doke. So we've defined the lash line. We're now going to curl the lashes and apply a single coat of mascara, a really faint coat. We're going to get rid of most of it. And again, this is to give the eyes this more dimension so that we're able to see where we're going. Because if you've got a problematic eye, you know it's difficult to apply eyeshadow to. We want to work with numbers. We want to give ourselves as much, to make it as easy as possible. So I'm going to take this mascara by Swede. It's called Pro Lash Lift Mascara. And then I'm going to take the mascara and I'm just going to take off everything that's on that wand. So I don't want any of it on there. So it's all coming off because I want the faintest amount on the lashes. And then I'm just going to carefully, just very lightly with whatever's left on it, just define them. Because this is going to help to hold that lash curl because we're going to recurl it later. But also I can now see the end of my eye. So I know where the eyeshadow can go. It's just going to give me a nicer, it's going to give me an easier time. So the next thing I'm going to do is start to define the crease. Now the crease of the eye for me is here. But if I apply it there, you're not really going to see it. So I'm going to apply it all the way across here. Now because I don't have a lot of eyelid space, so when my eye is open, there's not much room here. So colour is going to come up here. Now what I want to do is make sure that I get colour all the way in here, but it does not touch that highlight here. So I've got all this clean space, but it mustn't touch that highlight. So we've got this guideline of where we can apply it. Now I want to apply a kind of taupey shadow, but I don't have one. So I'm going to combine, I'm actually going to combine the lighter grey with this brown, and I'm just going to mix them together on the back of my hand to get a taupe, because, you know, that's what I want. I want something slightly taupey in the eye area. So let's give it a blast. So I'm going to take this stencil and I'm going to place it on the outside corner where the brow ends, and I want to make sure that I leave a space here. So don't do this with your tissue. You want to leave a little space right there. Oh, this mirror, absolutely useless. You want to leave a little space to connect. And now I'm going to just close my eye and I'm going to start to work the colour lightly right here. And I'm going right the way in to the nose bone here. And then as I come to this outside corner, I'm not touching that highlight. I'm bringing it down, but I'm not touching the highlight. It's so important. Do not touch that upper highlight. Don't blend it away. And you can connect this outer corner as well. And you're probably going to need to go in again. So let's just dip that back in. And just right here on the outside corner, wing it in. And then outside, leaving that highlight. And then just go back onto that outside corner. And then you get this nicely defined socket area here. I could have actually gone out a little bit further than that, so I might deal with that in a bit. So the next thing to do is recurl your lashes, because these lashes are now completely dry. There was barely any mascara on, so you've got no risk of breaking your lashes. And all this is going to do is give that curl, that hold that you want throughout the day. Now I can deal with concealer right at the end. So now what we want to do is contour that very outside portion of the eye, because that's a corner of the eye that most people don't like. For me, as an example, I don't know if it's going to show up on camera, I have this vein that travels right the way through it, that when I let go, looks like there's this weird kind of crease in my eye that isn't there. It's this nice vein that travels through it. Nothing I can do about it, so we're just going to accept it and move on. So I'm going to swap brushes for a smaller brush, and I'm going to take a combination of the grey and the black together, and I'm going to use those as my kind of outside contour colour. And I'm going to use my guideline once again, so I'm just going to place it there, making sure I've got that space. Oh, this mirror! And I'm now going to start on the outside corner. I'm just going to go up a little bit, just a touch. Just making sure that I've got that outside corner, because sometimes it's quite easy for us to go in really far and it becomes very dramatic very, very quickly. So I'm going to try and keep this more just on that outside area. So just right on the corner, darkening it and just trying to go up slightly so that I'm catching the vein here on me. So I'm just trying to minimize it. Now you want to get a clean brush. Please be clean. And I'm now just going to softly, you don't have to use your guideline unless you want to, just going to softly blend it. And you just get this really nice effect with this look, because it's quite classic, it's quite sophisticated, it's not incredibly bold, it's just really, really elegant and defined, I think. So the next thing I'm going to do is go back into my black eyeshadow, and I'm just going to once more just make sure that that lash line is defined, and I'm pushing into the lash bed, just making sure that we've got the blackest lashes before we apply our final coats of mascara. Come on, you bugger. Lovely. You see, it's defined, but we've only used the faintest coat of mascara. So at this point, we've got a couple of options. We've still got some lid space on my eye. So we can make the most of that by applying something that's shimmery and reflective. I'm going to be using my Celestial shade, and I'm just going to just really lightly just kind of dab it onto the eyelid. I just want to get this, just a very kind of faint sparkle on that eyelid. And then I'm going to take that brush and just very lightly buff the edge here. Lovely. It just catches the light ever so slightly. So the next thing I'm going to do is just conceal underneath this eye area, because there's this little patch of skin here that needs concealing, because it can become irritating and disconcerting when you're trying to do your eyeshadow. You've got this weird kind of shadow here. A lot of people have discoloration on the outside edges. We want to minimize that completely. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm just going to see if I can zoom in with the camera. Where I filmed that Huda video, where I had to take it off my face 3 times in a row, it made my skin so dry. So right here at the moment, I don't know if you can see or if I'm able to zoom in post, but it's really quite dry here. You know, it happens, things happen. What can you do about it? So we've now done the upper eye, and I think it looks really, I think that's a great looking eye. I find it really sophisticated. We now have the choice of going underneath to join if we wish. Now I'm going to for this, but you don't have to, but I'm going to. So I'm just going to very lightly just start on the outside corner, and I'm staying at that outer third to begin with, or almost halfway for my on me, and then I'm taking the rest, knocking it off, and then just following it along the rest of the eye. So you're just joining it up as best you can. Okay, so there's a couple more things that we're going to do. First thing is we're going to highlight the inner corner of the eye. And you can do this however you wish, but you can make it quite thick if you want, but I'm just going to extend it just slightly past where it really is. This just gives the illusion of a slightly longer eye. And then you just want to kind of bleed this bit into the deeper color you used. And then you might want to go back and just kind of rejoin it, and then kind of go back and just connect it. So next we're going to apply mascara, and then we're going to talk about rimming. You know what I mean. Okay, so I've applied some more mascara to the upper lashes. My upper lashes are just shocking. I'm currently using that kind of growth serum thing. Don't know if it's going to work. I've been using it for like 4 weeks, so perhaps it's too early to say, but it ain't working so far. Okay, so you could just leave this now. You could put a white eyeliner inside the eye. That would open up the eye, or a lighter color. Or you could just rim the upper and lower lash line. Now, generally speaking, I prefer to rim. I think it looks so much better when, I mean, it's a personal taste. It does shrink the eye, but it also just makes it look incredibly gorgeous, I think. So I'm gonna go in with my eyeliner, and I'm not gonna use a black, I'm gonna use deep amethyst. And my kohl liners are so good because they do stay put in the inner core, in the waterline. Not all day because nothing does, but they really do last really, really well. So I'm just going to apply deep amethyst just to this lower lash line and then the upper. And I love the way it looks. It just looks so kind of sexy and dreamy to me. Okay, there we go. There we have it. So we've now made it more dramatic. We made it more dramatic the minute we connected underneath the eye, but it's now even more because we've darkened that waterline. But again, the principle was always the same. You're painting by numbers. Lid highlight, brow highlight. That gives you the guide of where to go, right in that center portion. And you don't have to go all the way in. When you do, you contour an eye, but it's entirely up to you. But I went all the way in. And then the outside corner I deepened. I left the rest of the lid light and as sparkly as possible because I want there to be as much lid space as possible. But that's kind of how to go about approaching a problematic eye, because you are literally painting by numbers, and it just works incredibly well because you are allowing yourself a guideline by creating 2 light colors. You know where to put the contour color, the crease color, the mid-tone color, whatever you want to call it. And then of course you get the choice of darkening the waterline to make it, you know, it instantly turns it into a more dramatic look. So you could just do the upper part to begin with, go to work, have a lovely time or not. Then you're going out, you just go straight underneath the eye to connect it, add a bit of kohl to the inner corner, to the waterline, and you know, you're out the door and ready to have a lovely time. I mean, probably not now, but you get the gist. I just think it's a really jolly way of doing eyeshadow for eyes that just are a bit troublesome. And I like to give myself, I like to make the job as easy as possible. And this way it really does that, it really does. So hope you enjoyed it, hope you learned something, perhaps you didn't. All the information on my products is in the description bar. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you all soon. Bye-bye.